It's time for Sweet Home Cannabama, a show that'll answer all your questions, provide accurate information, and dispel the myths of cannabis. And have your specific questions answered by emailing Jennifer@cannabama.com or text or call 343-0106. And now, for all things cannabis in Alabama, here's your host, Jennifer Boozer.
Welcome, everybody, to the show. I'm your host, the former owner of Cannabama in downtown Mobile. We used to be located at 558 St. Francis Street in downtown, but that ended 7 days ago. The phone number is still 251-255-5155 if you have questions, would like to talk to us, maybe get some clarity. We give you all we have, but we have very little. But yeah, we're located only on the air now. You can find us on Sweet Home Cannabama pages on YouTube, X, LinkedIn, Instagram, and right here on FM Talk 106.5 every Monday night at 7 o'clock. And tonight is our 6-year anniversary of the show. So I'm really happy that we have my good friend Mandie Ledkins here in studio tonight. I'm going to go ahead and introduce her. This is Mandie.
Hi.
And she is running for state senate, and we're going to get to that in a minute. I want to get some current events out of the way here. Tomorrow night from 6 to 8 p.m. at New Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church, which is on Old Shell Road, there will be a Mobile Mayoral Forum. And so if you're interested in going to that, I'm assuming you'll be able to ask questions. We want to know mainly how they feel about HB 445 and legalization. So if you are so inclined, again, that's 6 to 8 p.m. at New Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church. I believe it's Paul Prine, Barbara Drummond, Connie Hudson, and Spiro Cheriagatis from 6 to 8. So definitely, if you're feeling froggy, jump. We are closed, and I just wanted to explain why, because there are still shops open, but my lawyer spoke to the ABC board and to the DA in Mobile, and both of them told him that if we do not have a license from the ABC board, we cannot sell any type of cannabinoid product. And it does not matter that the licenses are not available until January. They can come in and seize our products, seize our money, possibly arrest us, and I'm not taking that risk. Not for 10% of my product offering and a couple $100 a day. Can't even make payroll, pay the rent. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to risk needing a criminal defense lawyer because I have never broken Alabama state law in order to do business, and I will not start now. And I apologize for the people that are calling me constantly all day, every day, looking for direction, looking to see if we have anything to sell or if we're even open. I'm truly sorry. And I'm working on it, and we're going to fight it, and hopefully we'll fix this. But that is why we chose to close our doors. There are lots of shops closing and living on a fraction of their sales. We are not in a position to hold on in that way. And we're praying for our colleagues who are still trying to make it, because a lot of us, this is our only source of income. I have had no income now for a week, and no idea when that will change. So I would ask that you pray for us as well as we learn how to move through this new legal landscape. And I think the worst part of it is having to tell people over and over for the first time, I'm sorry, I can't help you. And they're desperate. They're desperate. They don't know where to turn. I've sent them to the few places I think are still open. I know that most of them are out of product anyway. I said it before a bunch of times. I'll say it again. The legislators in this state and the governor have zero concept of what they have done to us. And even if they do, they obviously do not care. And a lot of people are already suffering. I've had people call and say, my mom is in pain and we don't know what to do. And I just have to say, I'm sorry over and over again. I'm angry. Last week, you saw me cry. Last week, you saw me weak. You saw me hurt. And now I'm pissed. And it's not okay. It's not okay. It's inhumane and it's cruel and it is unconstitutional. Whether or not the judge agreed, it is unconstitutional. And this will not stand.
And I think that it's important that you talked about, like, you guys saw her vulnerable last week and she cried. showing how human you are. And this week you're upset. And it is important to feel all those things about
It
it.
is. That's part of the grieving process.
Exactly.
This is grieving.
And that is what is missing from these laws, this legislation, is the humane part, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was somebody standing in that press conference when they were talking about the raids that happened a couple weeks ago. And,
Mm-hmm.
I asked some questions that, I just genuinely wanted to understand. I am a very logical person.
Right.
I want to know why.
Right.
And so I also like data and numbers.
Proof,
Yes.
evidence.
And that shows, right? And so I think they're not thinking very logically sometimes. And they're also not thinking about context. So when they were standing up there saying, this isn't an attack on small business, well,
that's the only thing that got attacked.
Exactly. It may not be their basis for it, but it's what it did. It's an outcome of that. And they did not think about that, I don't feel like, and the effect. Or like you said, if they did, they aren't showing they care.
Right. No, we very plainly told them all to their faces many times. Many times. Our customers flooded these legislators. I had one legislator that I got to actually meet, and he said, I don't have to even read these emails to know that people are upset, because people don't email us unless they're upset. And the sheer number from this one legislator tells me all I need to know. And he's one of the few people that went to bat for us.
Yeah.
Because he saw his constituents were upset and he acted accordingly, which is kind of the job.
Right. I think that one thing, I'm running for state senate, right?
Mm-hmm.
District 14. And I think one of the main reasons I decided to run for office is the lack of transparency, and also the fact that our legislatures and our leadership treat us like their children.
Mm-hmm.
We're not their children. We're actually their boss. And so they're supposed to be up there listening to what we say. And even if they don't agree with it, go up there and say, okay, well, 70% of the people I talk to think that we need to keep hemp product and we just need to work on some of the regulations. 30% maybe don't like it. Well, maybe let's work on some education for the 30%. The biggest thing is we're supposed to represent all the constituents in our state. And I don't see where they're doing that. They're just taking it very one-sided.
I didn't see any evidence whatsoever besides that conversation.
Right.
Of anyone listening to their constituents. Because Representative Witt penned 2 opinion pieces in the Yellowhammer News blog bragging on his bill. And I would see 400, 500, 600 comments on every article, not one of them in support.
Right.
There's no way he didn't see that.
Well, again, like you said, like I said earlier, I like stats. I like data.
Mm-hmm.
You can go on these online forums and say, okay, well, 40% of ages this use this app, right? And then you look at the responses, and when 95% of them are negative, that means something. I'm not saying that it is the exact data, but you're seeing those sorts of polls throughout.
It gives you a taste of what the people want.
Exactly.
And you take that and you go, okay, I need to send out a back call to my district and say, hey, people, I want what you want. So tell me what you want.
Right. And that's
have a town hall meeting.
Exactly. You
do
need
a
to
poll,
hear
something.
Yes. You need to hear and do surveys. That's I've seen a lot of candidates doing the surveys these days, asking like, what is it you're looking for? And that's really what I'm trying to build my campaign on, is talking to people. And I may think I know what people want just by, being in these situations myself. But until you actually talk to people and hear what they need, you don't know.
Right. So, well, and another problem is half of these guys have been in that seat for 40 years.
Yeah, you get complacent.
They
and you
are
forget
totally
that.
Out of touch.
Oh, yeah.
And quite frankly, some of them are getting up into their 80s.
And life is a lot different.
It is completely different.
And we need to work on they're not even going to be in the future of what's going to affect the laws we're making today.
Thank you.
And so we really need to focus on the people that are going to be living that, our generation, I would say millennial, that sort of generation is kind of in the where we need to take the reins a little bit.
Well, I'm Generation X from the 1970s.
Well, you definitely.
But I'm actually a Xennial.
aren't you right on the cusp, though, right?
Yeah, I'm 78, so 78 to 82
Okay.
is that subcategory of xennials. We grew up with analog,
Right.
but digital.
It was coming into play.
And, yes,
Yeah.
I used the internet for the first time my freshman year of college in 1997 because my roommate got a computer.
Oh my gosh.
And an AOL subscription from her parents, and it made the screechy noise. And we had to have one of her friends that was older than us, and he was like an IT major, show us how to hook it up, and then promptly showed us how to look up porn. It was great.
Oh my gosh!
We were just like, what is happening? But yeah, I was 19 years old.
Oh my gosh!
And my kids have no concept. When we come back from the break, we're gonna get to know Mandie a little more. Stay with us.
Welcome to Top Shelf Alternatives, Opelika's premier dispensary. Located in historic downtown, we are dedicated to providing high-end products and exceptional customer service. Our team has vast knowledge and understanding to help you find exactly what you're looking for. From premium flower to top shelf concentrates, we've got you covered. At Top Shelf Alternatives, we pride ourselves on being more than just a dispensary. We're your partners in wellness. Come visit us today and experience the best in the business. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Native Black Cultivation is a true pioneer in Alabama's cannabis industry. As the first medical cannabis company to harvest in the state, they're committed to producing quality, sustainable cannabis. Native Black Cultivation blends integrity, innovation, and inclusivity to ensure every product from the farm meets the highest standard of quality and safety. Their mission extends beyond cultivation, focusing on social and economic change through education and community engagement. Visit nativeblackcultivation.com to learn more.
Let me tell you about my friends at Freedom CBD and Wellness. They're Tuscaloosa's original hemp dispensary with the largest selection of top shelf flower in West Alabama. From edibles to topicals, they specialize in all things CBD and Delta. Stop by and let Sonia find the right product for you. And don't forget to try their amazing line of Freedom Gummies. Check them out online at freedomcbdandwellness.com, Facebook, and Instagram. Roll Tide. At Canabama, we believe that CBD is for everyone. Our demographic is human. There's no race, age, gender, socioeconomic, education, or religious difference in our chemical and electrical systems. Let no human be excluded. We work hard to create an environment of learning. Our goal is to bring together all people in need of help while celebrating each moment of relief. Educate, advocate, unify, and celebrate. Find us at Canabama.com, Facebook, and Instagram.
Welcome back to Sweet Home Canabama. Now with all the information you want about cannabis, here's your host, Jennifer Boozer.
Welcome back, everybody. I forgot to mention at the top of the show, I have a cold. So if I sound funny and I've got a holes in my mouth, so if you hear it clicking around, it's me trying not to hack into this microphone. So, but nothing was going to keep me from this interview tonight.
Yay, I'm so
normally I would have said, we're going to do a rerun, but I was not going to miss this. And honestly, with the store being closed now, I have no clear path today to fund this show.
Right.
There's no show in the world like it. And it's more important for the people of Alabama now. But I paid for it myself, and now I have no income. And so we're going to have to get creative.
We are. I think that you can find some different ways. Like I was saying.
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping we can. And I know that this show is important to the station because we're the number 1, number 2 show all the time.
I think it's the awareness of spreading it because
people enjoy the information. Yes. I've had there are people watching right now that have told me, I've never used cannabis. I don't plan to, but I enjoy the information.
And knowing and being more educated.
Understanding it and not fearing it. And if I have to have it one day, I know who to go to.
See, that is, to me, what is vital about cannabis is I didn't try using anything until I was in my 30s. And it was because I was, like we were talking about earlier before we started, kind of I was the Christian good girl. I didn't want to get in trouble.
Goody two-shoes all the way. Me
I didn't
too.
want to get in trouble. And
Exactly. First daughter.
Exactly. And I even told my daughter's dad, I was like, in college, he would dabble in it and stuff. And I was just like, no, I don't want anything that can ruin my future.
That's just trash.
Because I was working so hard to get out
We're
of
a product of the DARE program.
Yes.
They did it. That brainwashing worked.
It worked. And totally. And so, but when I first tried it and then I started educating myself more on it, I was like, you know what? This is just like anything else I had to learn into and just see.
I had to be talked into it. And then when it worked and I couldn't explain it to my mother, I had to learn.
Yeah.
And I still haven't stopped.
Yeah. So years ago, when I did start learning more about it, even before I had tried it, I was still very pro, people wanting to use alternatives.
Right.
And so I was completely supportive of that. I just wasn't, I hadn't tried it myself. But then once I did try it myself and learn more about it, I understood. And then even, another thing making me want to be a pro cannabis ticket, right? I want to look into legalization and all those sorts of things. Is because the alternatives. I mean, you see it in our prison system. You see it in putting people back on the streets for things. And like when we were at the hemp rally, you talk to people every day. It's not just, you have this idea of who a hemp user is or a stoner or all these sorts of things. It's grandmothers that were at that hemp rally, like in their 80s, like I, need it for my arthritis. And when I do it, I can get out in my garden. Okay. It's also,
or knit again.
Yes. So it's also the dad who worked hard all day and he can pop a gummy and be a better dad to his kids because he took that, just to mellow a little bit. And that is the equivalent to a lot of people of drinking a beer after work.
Right. Or a glass of wine.
Exactly.
It's totally acceptable for women.
It is.
Say, Mommy needs a glass of wine.
And I used to be that mom. Like, I think when I was in my trying to be a stay-at-home mom days, I even had a shirt that said something like Mommy needs wine time or something, or my bottle, when I had 3 babies. And I would drink wine. I did. Like, I remember posting photos on social media of like my wine glass for when my husband got home. And it was like, ooh. But then I would get hangovers and things like that. So I started trying gummies, and I told my aunt even about these CBD gummies. She gives her dog CBD. So the idea of they want to put it behind pharmacies is insane to me.
Right.
That she couldn't order her dog's treats.
Right. No, we sold dog treats every day.
Yeah. I mean, so the
I'm so sorry.
The people who use this, the animals who use this product is so vast. And I think that's what a lot of people miss out on is that they have this stereotype of who uses this product. And it's totally not that.
It is not.
And especially in Alabama, I know so many people who use cannabis products.
I have a customer who's like 75 and his wife is in such a state that she can't even come with him. And he comes and he buys her gummies.
Yeah.
That he cuts into little squares, and he gives them to her for her pain. And at night, she takes a little more so she can
go
sleep.
To sleep and stay asleep.
And now that customer would be considered a felon because those gummies were 25 milligrams.
Exactly. That it's just, I think another problem with it, we're talking about how earlier, there's no clear guidelines on anything.
No, we have received no information whatsoever from ABC.
You can't do anything if you don't know what's right to do.
And that's why I'm not going to jail.
Exactly. And so, some people are just in limbo. They have no idea. They're stuck. And I think when it comes to, making laws and legislation like this, they need to know what's going to A, B, C, D, all these answers, what's going to happen, and they don't.
I will tell you this because I was there. Every time one of our bills was up, we were in Montgomery. There was about 20 of us, sometimes a dozen, sometimes less. But I was there every time. They knew we were there.
Oh, yeah.
We got up and spoke when we were allowed to because they tried not to let us. And we bullied Melson until we got the 2 whole minutes. And what would happen is, the newest version of that bill would be walked into the room while the meeting was going on and be this thick. And we're supposed to be commenting on a bill we haven't seen.
Oh, yeah.
But we were there. We walked those halls. We brought customers from all over the state for a day and toured them around so that they could see it from their constituents.
Yeah.
They didn't want to know. Not one person asked me, What is going on?
Yeah.
What do you do? What are we getting wrong? How can we do this? Not one.
Because they want to act like this is the whole, mentality they have with calling our president a father figure. I'm not going to even go to saying that. I'm not going to say that. But it's like that they have to come and take care of us. Well, I have news for them. We are adults.
Right.
We are adults and we need to be in the
enough
conversation.
To pay taxes.
Yeah,
we're adults enough to have to work.
If I can buy a house, if I can go to work, if I can
jail when we don't pay taxes.
Exactly. If I can take care of 4 kids and run a business, and I think that I'm fully capable of talking about how a plant benefits me or not. Right. And we need to be able to have a conversation about that. I think that's the biggest thing.
You know what we can't have a conversation about? What is Red 40?
Exactly.
What is these 5-syllable words that are in our food?
They're attacking the wrong thing.
We're looking at something that God gave us sovereignty over in the first book of the Bible, chapter 1. And we can't identify 90% of the food we're putting in our bodies, but we're wrong.
Yeah. I think people fear, as you know, what they don't understand or what they don't know. But, we talk about the new. So obviously what's affecting your business and a lot of other businesses is the HB 445.
Right.
But now what we're kind of transitioning to is seeing some of the newest legislature that April Weaver, SB 1 is.
Oh yeah. She's ready to go for next year.
She is ready to go. And
what a go-getter, SB 1.
They would
first out of the gate. Congratulations.
And it came out the morning after our hemp rally.
Right.
And because I woke up to the news and I read it.
Isn't that a fun coincidence?
Yes. People, it's kind of like the Taylor Swift song where she's like, everybody says it's not about me, but what if it is? Like, I felt like it was like, I just went to this hemp rally. I just announced my pro-cannabis platform and trying to work with business owners. And boom,
here's this
SB1.
Well, SB1, I haven't read it.
Okay, we can actually.
But I know enough about it to know it's basically the same thing she tried to do last time. And it couldn't even get on the committee floor.
Banning THC and putting CBD in pharmacies. Exactly. And so obviously we know this is not good. And if you go and look at any of the comments, it's all negative.
It is.
So I did, I actually made a response, and said, I would love to speak to any of these constituents that are worried, because I would. It's not like I would like to talk to them about the research. It's there. I think it's people are scared again of what they don't know.
Right.
They see people's kids getting, involved. And I'm like, well, this is the same thing we would have dealt with alcohol, right? It's a messaging thing, right? So banning something, prohibition all over again is not going to work. And we know that.
Well, and from
history,
all that,
right?
Don't do drugs and don't drink and drive and drink responsibly on the Super Bowl. 488 people die every day.
Yes.
The health problems it creates, heart disease, liver damage.
Yeah, more people died of sugar in Alabama last year. It's ridiculous, the things that really do kill people, but then the things we get, and I think it's like they just harp on that because it can be a political issue too.
Right. I've noticed something, and I'm not from Alabama, but I have been here most of my adult life.
I've been here a long, long time, so I can tell you, girl.
I was 26 when I moved here. I'm 47.
Okay.
My children, this is the only home they've ever known. I've been here a minute. What I have noticed, especially being involved,
right,
is every year Alabama likes to pick at least one thing that will piss off the entire world.
Oh, yeah.
And go for broke. And it seemed like this year they really wanted to top themselves.
Oh, yeah.
I read something today that said that they're going to go for it again to rename the Gulf of Mexico. And I'm like, why?
Why?
What is the point of that?
We have real problems.
Why do we need a shark alert system? We don't have hospitals, delivery rooms, or pediatricians in 23 counties, because we watched those stats come out when they bullied the midwives in the health committee, by the way. The doctors who believe
this is another anthill for me. I don't think it's called an anthill, but I think it's funny.
They bullied those midwives to the point that after a little while they withdrew their bill.
Oh yeah, because
it was
they
disgusting.
Scare them to death. And threaten.
Why do you know if you're not going to fix the fact that there are no hospitals and pediatricians available? Why are you going to bully the people bringing babies into the world with not one death since they got legal?
we
Stay
can
with
talk
us.
about that.
We'll be right back. More with Mandie Ledkins. Stay with us.
Bye.
FM Talk 1065, the Gulf Coast Weather Authority, and Dr. Bill Williams.
The Gulf Coast can expect mostly clear skies tonight. Low temperatures will be in the mid-70s at daybreak. For Tuesday, mostly sunny with scattered afternoon showers and thunderstorms, highs in the lower 90s. And the outlook for Wednesday, mostly sunny again with scattered afternoon showers and thunderstorms and highs in the lower 90s. This is meteorologist Dr. Bill Williams for FM Talk 1065.
I'm Roseanne Haven from WKRG News 5. A couple from Mobile among the missing in the Texas floods. Eddie Santana Sr. and his wife Ileana, along with several relatives, were staying in a cabin at a campground when the flooding began. Mobile Mayor Sandy Stinson asking for you to lift the family in prayer. Officials in Dauphin Island are investigating the death of a man who fell overboard while fishing near Dauphin Island Saturday morning. Daphne Search and Rescue found his body near Fort Morgan Sunday morning. This week, the pier at Gulf State Park will close temporarily. Wednesday night, crews will close the pier so they can finish upgrading a main electrical panel. The pier is set to reopen Thursday morning. If there's bad weather, work will be pushed back to Thursday with the pier reopening Friday. I'm Roseanne Haven from WKRG News 5. Local coverage you can count on.
Native Black Cultivation is a true pioneer in Alabama's cannabis industry. As the first medical cannabis company to harvest in the state, they're committed to producing quality, sustainable cannabis. Native Black Cultivation blends integrity, innovation, and inclusivity to ensure every product from the farm meets the highest standard of quality and safety. Their mission extends beyond cultivation, focusing on social and economic change through education and community engagement. Visit nativeblackcultivation.com to learn more.
Let me tell you about my friends at Freedom CBD and Wellness. They're Tuscaloosa's original hemp dispensary with the largest selection of top shelf flower in West Alabama. From edibles to topicals, they specialize in all things CBD and Delta. Stop by and let Sonia find the right product for you. And don't forget to try their amazing line of Freedom Gummies. Check them out online at freedomcbdandwellness.com, Facebook, and Instagram. Roll Tide.
At Canabama, we believe that CBD is for everyone. Our demographic is human. There's no race, age, gender, socioeconomic, education, or religious difference in our chemical and electrical systems. Let no human be excluded. We work hard to create an environment of learning. Our goal is to bring together all people in need of help while celebrating each moment of relief. Educate, advocate, unify, and celebrate. Find us at canabama.com, Facebook, and Instagram.
Welcome to Top Shelf Alternatives, Opelika's premier dispensary. Located in historic downtown, we are dedicated to providing high-end products and exceptional customer service. Our team has vast knowledge and understanding to help you find exactly what you're looking for. From premium flower to top shelf concentrates, we've got you covered. At Top Shelf Alternatives, we pride ourselves on being more than just a dispensary. We're your partners in wellness. Come visit us today and experience the best in the business. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Welcome back to Sweet Home Canabama. Now with all the information you want about cannabis, here's your host, Jennifer Boozer.
Welcome back, everybody. Tonight we've been talking with Mandie Ledkins. She is running for state senate in District 14. She is the opponent of April Weaver, Senator April Weaver. Sponsored SB 273 or 274, one of them 273, I believe, in 2025, which was a total ban on THC and would put CBD in pharmacies only. And then right after our hemp rally in Birmingham, which Mandie attended, she decided to drop SB 1 for 2026. And it seems like it's probably an identical bill. THC banned and CBD in pharmacies only.
Yeah.
I find it interesting, and I'm not here to make friends. I find it interesting that she is a nurse.
Yeah.
And apparently her husband works for Blue Cross Blue Shield. So I wonder who her donors are. I imagine they have.
It's all public knowledge.
I
so you can
imagine
definitely
it
look
rhymes with Sharma.
On that note, I am completely grassroots. I'm not backed by anybody at all.
Yes, donate to
by
her
myself.
campaign.
But on that note, I think bringing this in, and like you said, her having that background, to me, I feel like she should be based in science and look at the facts that way. And if you look at data from like what actually kills people, like let's be real.
Oh yeah.
And so in that case, you have to know there's something else behind it. But so she came out with it, and a lot of people that were in some of the similar groups we are on social media sites posted in opposition, like on her public page that she posted it on, or her senator page. And I want to say, like, I took a screenshot and it was like almost 90% negative. And I didn't feel like anything, it may have been ugly. She's sets the tone for her page, but it wasn't very much like in favor. Well, she took it down.
Right.
So I don't know.
Which is not okay, because the people deserve to know what their fellow man thinks.
Yeah. And so I'm going to be honest, like I can talk to anybody, as you know, and I can find common ground with anybody. We're all human and have a lot of the same struggles. So we can at least come together on something, bottom line, even if we have to open what is those dolls, the Russian dolls, that you go
the nesting dolls.
Exactly. So again, with April Weaver, I am completely, I said, let's have a town hall and talk to the constituents who are worried about it. I genuinely want to talk to them, because it's kind of like I've heard one of our friends, Marty Shelford, shout out to the ACC, sweetest thing in the world. She said to me one time that she was at dinner with somebody who asked her, like, point blank, well, are you a drug user? Because she smoked. She was talking about cannabis reform. I don't even think she actually uses anymore, does she?
Yeah, she does.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't know how much. I'm not.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, we've never. Anyway, so she said that the person asked her that, and then she looked at them because they were drinking a glass of wine and said, "Are you an alcoholic?" And it shut them up.
That's why I love her.
And it's true. I think that, again, let's base it in like real facts and data and what actually we know through history, right? So that kind of surprised me that I get her constituents she's saying are going for this, but I would like to know more what's behind it. Yes, and exactly.
Where's the proof?
I would love to talk to them.
90% of those comments were negative.
Right. I would love to talk to people. And if they have an issue, like, well, my kid ended up in the ER because they got this at school. Well, let's talk about how we can prevent that, like education, right? Like I was telling you, we were talking about earlier, there's so many things we can do besides just throwing it all out. And so those are the kind of things I would want to bring on my platform.
Well, and I don't think that they understand where kids are actually getting this, because one of the most eye-opening conversations I have had in the last few months was with my husband's daughter and her friend.
Yeah.
15-year-old girls in the 9th grade.
So you got like a first.
Because I was explaining to the friend what I do for a living.
Yeah.
And, she's a kid. She's got questions. I'm sure she hears her mother's voice going, oh, no. So I'm trying to explain to her what I did. And so they were like, yeah, we know kids that smoke pens on the school bus. And I'm like, what?
That's terrifying.
And I was like, wait. I said,
14-year-old.
Where are they buying? Where do your people from school, where do they buy it? Both of them immediately. Snapchat.
That is terrifying.
I want to pull my hair out.
Yeah.
Because I've lost my business.
Well, this is also a parental thing. This is also you have to
go on Snapchat and get the bad guys.
Yeah.
There's plenty of adults that will snatch your kid out of your house or send them drugs.
Again, we have to address the actual issues of where they're getting it, because we could say the same thing about alcohol, or even not to be controversial or anything, but guns, right? Like guns don't kill people is what people say, right? People kill people. So you have to know to put that up so your kids don't get that.
Right. In the UK, you're probably less likely to get shot, but they will stab you.
Right. And what I have heard from people when I talk to them, and that, about why they think we shouldn't have THC, which is very few people, but some of the arguments are, well, we've had an increase in, ambulance and emergency room calls and things because people overdose and I'm like, well, that goes back to education too, because if they actually got it from the stores, like if I were to come into a store, be a customer of yours, Jennifer, right? I would come in, I'd be like, hey, I want something to relax. And you'd be like, well, let's talk about, okay,
Right.
don't.
My first question is, are you looking for THC? Are you having to pass a drug test?
You're
Then,
you're educating
Have
them.
you ever used it before? If so, what is your typical potency? And then when I offer you my product, I say, try half.
Yeah,
Whatever
exactly.
I say, whatever you think you can
educate
handle,
people on
do
that.
half.
But also, that's the point, is people are getting it and they're not sure of what, they're not educated on it. So they take like one and then they don't feel anything. And then they keep taking them and they panic and they really probably just need a cheeseburger and a nap.
Right.
But they're scared because they've not been told that. Whereas when what do we see all over with alcohol? It's like, oh, if you do this, it's binge drinking, or make sure you have a designated driver. That's what we do to cut down the accidents.
They put charcoal in your stomach to absorb the toxins, or they induce vomiting.
Oh, gosh.
There are things that can be done.
But I think it's just like with everything, there has to be education around it.
Right.
Education is power. It's exactly how we cut down on anything that has been abused in our society. But exactly, we just need to have the education around it. I did get an opportunity to
sit with the chairman of the House Health Committee. And he looked at me and he said, well, your store is 21 and up, right? You'll be fine. I said, no, sir, I will not. You have no clue that what happens in our shops is nothing like what they're talking about up here. Nothing.
Yeah.
We do not sell to kids. We do not have a bunch of people laid out on the sidewalk.
And if we did,
we don't have
and
that.
if we did, if that was happening,
me in jail.
I would be all about going and getting these people. I don't want people selling to my children. Again, it's just
I wanted a license for retailers in 2019 because I knew that somebody was going to come out here and be a jerk and break all the rules,
right? And
just
make
to
it
make
hard
money,
for everybody.
And they were going to come after the ones that don't. And here we are. 7 years
this is
later.
exactly like why we need to be proactive in our legislation and in our government and not reactive, because all of this stuff started coming on the market and they don't have the tools to regulate it fast enough. They don't have the education of people who are the experts in this, right?
Well, and can we please
So that's why they're trying to go to the
alcohol.
Exactly. That's why they're trying to go to the ABC board, right? They're trying to put it over there because
it's not tobacco either.
It's different. And I really think that it's being just pushed together, especially now. This is the thing. How many states is it legal in?
40.
When you're in a business,
40 states.
When you're in a business and something works, you take that and you replicate it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see what's working. Let's look at other states who are doing it right, who are having better
40
issues.
states have medical. I think almost 20 have recreational and 50
I think it's 27 have recreational.
Really?
I want to say it's 27.
I knew it had grown.
Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure it's 27. But a lot of these things, again, are things that people would see, oh, you're a pro-cannabis, platform candidate and think it's all like, I just want to throw pot out to kids. That is not it at all.
I've been accused of that too.
Yes, I want reform. I want people who want to be able to smoke pot after work, just like somebody who wants to be able to, have a glass of wine. Let's have fair regulations. Let's make sure that we're doing things that come from facts and data and actually taking room for context. Not everything's black and white. We've got to have some context.
Well, and at what point do we stop legislating morals and autonomy?
Right.
If I want to go and buy a case of vodka right now when we leave and drink myself to death, no one is going to stop me. They do not care. And you cannot die with cannabis. You can't.
No,
the problem is we're meeting needs that conventional medicine cannot meet.
Right. And affordability.
I'm tired of
that goes back to the whole thing, right? Everything works together. And that is a lot of the reason my whole platform, Access for Alabama. It's that easy.
Right. We were talking about the midwives.
Right. We're talking about accessibility, right? So that goes back to healthcare, that goes to housing, humanity,
which
treating
is another
people
huge problem.
Yes, there's a lot of different issues, right? But they really do all correlate together. For instance, let's say that we do have a, entire ban on THC. What does that look like? Putting more people in prison, filling the mega prisons.
Yep.
And that's also going to cost more money from us to fill that. But let's look at the alternative. We legislate it. We put decent parameters around it. It's that we can compromise.
Protect small businesses
Exactly.
and the public,
and
still everybody wins.
Everybody wins. And you don't have the issue of people going to prison and us having to pay $23,000 a year per inmate. Things like that.
And
that
just
you don't even
imagine
think
the
about.
federal dollars. That's what they're in it for.
Yeah.
That's why they named it after Kay Ivey. She is a prison person.
Prison person. PP.
Yeah, I can't say the names I want to say.
Prison person.
I will. I tell y'all what, if one more person posts a TikTok video or says on my TikTok videos, Kay Ivey will pass everything but away. Okay, get a new joke, y'all.
All right. If you've seen it 4 times,
old.
everybody else has. Keep rolling.
You know what I mean? Make a Weekend at Bernie's joke something besides everything but away. I know it was funny the first 87 times, and it still gives me a little giggle because it's pretty funny.
No,
But everybody
true, I guess, for
is
most people,
saying
right?
that one thing, and everybody, we got to get rid of her.
And we
Maybe
need to
she's
talk
on
about
her way
how.
out.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the governor in Texas who.
Yes. When we come back from the break, we're going to
Bring that
finish
in.
with Mandie Ledkins.
Yes.
Stay with us.
Let me tell you about my friends at Freedom CBD and Wellness. They're Tuscaloosa's original hemp dispensary with the largest selection of top shelf flower in West Alabama. From edibles to topicals, they specialize in all things CBD and Delta. Stop by and let Sonia find the right product for you. And don't forget to try their amazing line of Freedom Gummies. Check them out online at freedomcbdandwellness.com, Facebook, and Instagram. Roll Tide.
At Canabama, we believe that CBD is for everyone. Our demographic is human. There's no race, age, gender, socioeconomic, education, or religious difference in our chemical and electrical systems. Let no human be excluded. We work hard to create an environment of learning. Our goal is to bring together all people in need of help while celebrating each moment of relief. Educate, advocate, unify, and celebrate. Find us at canabama.com, Facebook, and Instagram.
Welcome to Top Shelf Alternatives, Opelika's premier dispensary. Located in historic downtown, we are dedicated to providing high-end products and exceptional customer service. Our team has vast knowledge and understanding to help you find exactly what you're looking for. From premium flower to top shelf concentrates, we've got you covered. At Top Shelf Alternatives, we pride ourselves on being more than just a dispensary. We're your partners in wellness. Come visit us today and experience the best in the business. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Native Black Cultivation is a true pioneer in Alabama's cannabis industry. As the first medical cannabis company to harvest in the state, they're committed to producing quality, sustainable cannabis. Native Black Cultivation blends integrity, innovation, and inclusivity to ensure every product from the farm meets the highest standard of quality and safety. Their mission extends beyond cultivation, focusing on social and economic change through education and community engagement. Visit nativeblackcultivation.com to learn more.
Welcome back to Sweet Home Canabama. Now, with all the information you want about cannabis, here's your host, Jennifer Boozer.
No, I'm not going to. Welcome back, everybody. We're here with Mandie Ledkins, and we're having so much fun. I didn't realize the show was back on.
2 hours.
Girl, they would kick us out of here.
Listen to us talk for that long, maybe.
Probably so.
We'll see.
Where were we?
Okay, we were talking about accessibility for Alabama.
Yes,
and,
I'm gonna move that over there for you.
Thank you. And making sure that people have access to what they need to be successful and not filling mega prisons and
Right.
not being, again, we're being reactive to an issue. We're not being proactive.
Well, I when you said that earlier, it immediately came to me that in 2016, with the unanimous, including Senator Milson and all them dudes, unanimously voted for SB 393 because they specifically campaigned for this bill, saying that Alabama wanted to be on the forefront of the hemp industry, the innovators, set the bar.
They
wanted
farming,
it all.
Agriculture. What is Alabama known for?
Right. We're
So
a
they
farm
wanted to
state.
Exactly.
People in Colorado should be asking for that good Alabama-ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
But see, I have friends who are in the industry that live in Portland.
All over.
They grew up in Alabama.
And
were
they
born
left
and raised
this
here,
state,
and they left this state.
and they're out there kicking ass and
making
taking
money
names. Mhm.
somewhere else that could have been here. that happens every day. I feel like obviously Alabama is just not caught up with the reality of the world.
No.
Sometimes.
Well, that's like the tax exemption for student athletes to get them to come here now that they can get endorsement deals.
Exactly.
And they don't have to pay taxes and they're going to promptly leave.
Oh,
no.
They're just doing everything they can to try to get people here, but the things we want.
They can't keep them here.
Oh, you want
Look at the
cannabis?
deal with the NASA program people. Nobody wanted to move to Alabama.
Exactly.
1,000 people. Nobody wanted to come here, and I wonder why.
Now, I worked before I got into jumping to start running for office, I have worked in corporate America for like 20 years in customer success, in management. And I worked for one of the biggest employers in Birmingham for a long time. It runs, I guess I can say it, Shipped. I mean, it's on my LinkedIn. You can see it.
Oh, yeah.
I worked there for years. Building. Yes. And worked there through the pandemic and everything. And obviously we're trying to recruit people to Birmingham, right, to work. Right. And it was becoming hard, I feel like. And that's why we had so many local, like, if you called there, it was like actually us customer service representatives. It wasn't, we didn't use for a long time any kind of vendors. Now they do. But they were having a hard time, I feel like, keeping people wanted to move. And then when it became remote work, we had so many people like me. I was just like, going all over the place. I would go to Seattle for 2 weeks and work. Because I mean,
I work from my computer a lot when I'm traveling.
And so I think that we're definitely, people are not wanting to come in because of all kinds of, like you said earlier,
there's
about
no health care.
There's no health care. And
the insurance premiums are going up. Right. All anybody cares about is mega prisons and taking things away from people. And there's no lottery.
My entire platform, Access for Alabama, it comes from, I am product that when you're given access to something, when you didn't have a step, that it can help make you a productive member in the next tier. Does that make sense? So like, I went to college. I was the first person in my family, but I would have not gotten to go to a college if it wasn't for the VA scholarship I got because my dad was in Vietnam. Because I grew up in a struggling family. I would have never gotten to go.
Right.
But I was given that little bit of access, right? So I feel like the same for a lot of different programs throughout the state. We all need access to thrive, sometimes more than others. Some of these places, like you're talking about, maternity deserts, that's a huge problem in Alabama. I was at a March of Dimes event earlier this year, and they were speaking, and from 2018 to 2019, 220,000 pregnant women died in the state of Alabama. 220. Now, if we were on the news right now and I said, oh my God, 220,000 pregnant women this year or today fell into a canyon, it would be a frenzy.
Right.
But these are women because it takes them over an hour to get emergency care. Most of them were preventable things. The number one race that is affected is Black women. These are things that we're not answering.
Right.
This is the problem.
Why are we okay with young women who are bearing children dying?
We don't give them the access.
I almost bled to death in a delivery and lost a perfectly healthy 9-pound boy to brain death because of negligence. I had a hospital. I was there for days.
Alabama is one of the scariest places to have a baby in the world. And we live in one of the, look up the facts. And why I say scariest is I had, 3 out of my 4 children here. And I will admit, I had a midwife in Georgia when I had my oldest that had hospital rights. Like she could come in and work in the hospital. And it was a much better experience. And I think that's because I got the personalized care.
Right.
However, we have a lot of great doctors, and I'm not saying anything about my others, but if you look at how long it takes people to get that care, how often people are put off is just like, okay, that's normal for pregnancy. Things like that. I didn't find out with my twins till I was 22 weeks pregnant because I just didn't, even with maternity care and insurance, like they weren't looking for those things. So I think that that's what makes it scary is that you're not getting the care that you need because there's so many, the doctor to patient ratio is out of this world. And a lot of people are like, well, they can drive to Birmingham. There's so many places. Well, if they live an hour and a half
your
out,
emergency.
I used to have a car with no air conditioner until literally like 5 years ago.
If I had to drive to Birmingham from an hour away, I would be dead.
Exactly. This is what's happening. And you can look it up. And I have people that I have connections with March of Dimes, and I just was distraught with this information. And you say, well, how do you know what they were from? Well, that's why it takes a few years to get the data, because you're looking at pregnant women who died and what was the cause of that, leading cause of that. Some of them where they couldn't get the emergency care in time, it was too far away.
There's a whole lot of negligence that no one will acknowledge.
They may not have had health care, and that's what's sad, is you're seeing that. I mean, even in my county, Shelby County, which is very, very, I think a great place to live, but we have a hospital, but there's no where to have a baby there. And because everybody's like, you can go to Jefferson County.
Right.
Well, there are people in my community that don't have cars to get there. So they have to Uber. They have to Uber to Birmingham.
And let's hope
UAB,
they have the $150 to do that. Yeah.
Pregnant.
Mandy, I hate to say this, but we are getting low on time.
I know.
I want everybody to know how to find you. So tell us how to find you.
Yes. I also like to talk. So we both
I know.
do.
I got to do a tribute real
Yes,
quick.
I know you do. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
You can follow me more. You can go to MandieForAlabama.com, Mandie with an IE. And you can also find me on TikTok, same Mandie for Alabama, Instagram. And definitely, if you're interested in volunteering or knowing more, fill out one of the forms, and we're going to start a newsletter soon, an event calendar. I'm always somewhere.
And I would like to publicly invite April Weaver to have equal time on the show. If she would like to have some of these discussions, I would be overjoyed to be able to ask her directly. But before we go, I have to honor my friend. He's been on the show many times. His name is Daniel Jones. He went by Waxy Brown. He was the only other FM cannabis radio show in the country out of Missouri for a while. Waxy Brown's Flower Power Hour. And my friend died. I just found out this morning. This is his drink, Can of Biss. He was on the show in September when we talked about addiction recovery, because he wanted to create a product that people like him who were former alcoholics could have in a bar or a party setting and not feel left out and be able to help with his social anxiety and feel included. Waxy was a Marine. He served his country. He served over 2 years in prison for cannabis, got out and won city council seat.
He's badass.
He owned the first consumption lounge in Missouri. He is a fantastic, fantastic person. And I just want to honor my friend Waxy Brown, ask you to pray for his family. I don't really have any details, but this man was a giant for the cannabis plant, for veterans, and for people like me. He even helped me out on the show, figure out how to stream at the same time.
We're going to keep going.
Yes,
people like him.
we are. We're going to honor him every time. But I just want to say to my friend Waxy, thank you, man. They don't make them like you anymore. And I don't know what happened, but you are going to be so greatly missed. And we love and appreciate you. And I thank you guys for listening. Again, you can find us for now and hopefully for a long, long time. It's our 6-year anniversary. Thank you, Mandie, for being here again.
I loved it. Thank you for having me.
Every Monday night at 7 o'clock on 106.5. And you can find us on social media, not on Facebook. I got to figure that one out. They do not like me over there. Neither does Instagram. But thank you. God bless.
Bye, guys. Thank
you guys. Me. God bless Alabama Hemp. God bless Mandie Ledkins.
Yeah.
Vote for Mandie.
Yeah. Bye, guys.